Hi. Regarding to the Dgrai simulation, I'm going to show one very simple example that will display a few elements on the Dgrai tool. We will have a look at the main functions, decisional levels, decision centers, and I will show how the simulation runs. So we will see where the output of the models are saved, and also what are the graphs that we can see in order to realize how the model is working. So the first thing that we should do, as we know, we need to open the Dgrai. As we know that normally it should be located in your program files, cgip Dgrai. So we just need to open it as an administrator. So here it is. So we have the Dgrai tool open. I'm going to open an example that comes with Dgrai that probably will help to understand better how the system works. So for this, I'm going to open this file, which is the psdrm aen. But because in my machine, at least, I cannot run the files in program files folder, I need to save the file in a different folder. So that's what I did. So here I create this example, and I'm going to open this file here in this folder. Please note that once Dgrai is running, Dgrai is going to write the outcomes in txt files. But if the model is located in some kind of a protected file, sorry, in kind of a protected folder like program files and so on Windows, probably the model will crash. So make sure that the model is located in a folder, in a very simple folder in your computer. What I normally do is that in the C drive, I create, let's say, one or two folders, one folder and one subfolder, and that should be enough. If the root of the folder is very long, probably also Dgrai may get lost when it's writing its data. So try to be very simple with this. So I'm opening this file. I'm going to, just to remind which file it is, I'm going to select which file it is, as we know. So this is a model that already exists. So because of that, I'm going to create all objects, as we know. So we create all objects. So we just need to wait a moment. See, just wait a moment. Right. Okay, good. So with that, we see that here we have a model that already exists, that you see have all the decision centers. So it's a very complete model. It's an example of an MRP model. So once we do that, for instance, one of the very interesting things of using this tool is that we can realize the flow of information and constraints. And in order to do so, we just need to click in this arrow. You see this white arrow here. So we click there, and automatically the Dgrai is going to show the main informations and constraints. And actually, if the model eventually gets plenty of arrows, we can move those arrows. We just need to place the mouse over the arrow, and then we just click on that, and then we can move that, let's say, to here. You see, so we can move arrows. That's very important. The other thing that we could do with this visualization is that also we can know exactly what the arrow is about by placing the mouse pointer over the arrow. So here I know that this is the program and quantity product. For instance, here I have the program and quantity of products. You see that this is the same information that goes in both directions. Here we have the same. But here I have a kind of a double arrow, and I would like to separate it in order to see clearly what is this about. You see, so then I can see the three different arrows. So the model is with this type of approach is showing me graphically how every information flows in the model. But also I can have a look inside of the model like this. So it's showing me all the activities and all the input and output and human resource involved in this activity. Once I see all the those support informations or constraints or decisions, objectives in green, that means that they are ready to be run. Normally, when I see this in a red color, that means that eventually the system is blocked or that information is coming from another decision center, then therefore we need to wait for. Well, as usual, we can see what the model is about by following those tabs. We know that we have in this model several functions. Those are the order. This is basically a graphical element. So if I want to show the external information at the left, I will put a 1 here, and if I would like to show the internal information at the right, I will put a 7. That's why we see those information here and here. The other element, for instance, are the levels. So we can define levels, for instance. Let me close this. So we can show the levels. So we have 4 levels, 10, 20, 30, and 40, with an horizon of 1 year, 6 months as a period, 6 months, 1 month, 1 month, 1 week, and 1 day and 1 day. This is the most strategic level. Those two are the tactical level, and those are the operational level, as we know. Also, we know that we have the human resources. So for that, we need to create the groups. And once we create the groups, we just can see what type of human resource we have. And then we can also have a look here that we can show to which level in the hierarchical tree they belong to. We have also the list of support. Those are the inputs and outputs. This is a very interesting thing because eventually, if we would like to change a support for any other type, we can do it here, right? If eventually we define that a support is an information or is a constraint or vice versa, we can change that exactly here. Another aspect that we have here, well, in this decision center we don't have any. Let me click one decision center. So we have action and support. Well, sorry, this one is empty, by the way. So let me show one that has some. So search for supplies, purchase strategy. Let me check that. Well, actually, it's the second one. So this one should have some net inside. Activities are all those. So this activity that which is inside the decision center, I can also change it here, like if this is going to be a decision or an execution, in case I done it wrongly when I was doing graphically. Also, I have all the support information. So if the initial state is mandatory, I will put here a true state. You see, I can change it to true. Or if it's not mandatory and I can run the activity without having the most up-to-date information, normally we will put that as a false. And we can also identify which one of those activities are output. So in this case, I can identify that the only outcome of this activity is this one, is the strategy of purchase by suppliers. I can also enlarge this column to see what it says, supplies type. So this is the only output. Let's have a look to the model to see if this is true or not. So we click here. We want to see this particular decision center. And exactly, this is the only output, right? And that also means that because they are just every constraint or every support is just next to the decisional activity, are just next to it, is because they are not mandatory. Normally, when they are connected to this section of the activity, they are mandatory. So in that case, the input, as we saw here, this initial state will be true. So, but this is how the model is defined, and I will try to show how this model runs in the next video.